On Good Morning Scotland, we'll be speaking to the leaders of all the larger parties, and this morning the Scottish Family Party leader, Richard Lucas, joins us. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome. This is the first time you've had people standing at a local election level. You've got 84 candidates. How many seats would your party consider a success?
Well, I think at this election, we're a new party. We're building up. If we get a couple of councillors in, we would be absolutely delighted. If we don't manage that, we'll still raise the profile of the party and give more and more people the opportunity to vote for what they believe in. We're in this for the long term. It's a mountain to climb, and we're climbing it.
Well, given that you are a relatively new party, why should people choose the Scottish Family Party next Thursday?
There's lots of reasons why we're unique in Scottish politics, but looking at the local elections in particular, there's two main themes to our policy platform. The first one is listen to local people. I think councils in many cases are driven by other agendas rather than the priorities of local people. We want councils to get back to the basics, keeping things in good repair, etc. And we would bring a focus on supporting families in particular to local politics. That's the first strand. The second strand is education. That's a very important area for us. We feel that the Scottish Government's policies and advice and guidance makes it very difficult for schools to provide good quality education for children. So as a council, I think that there is considerable scope for ameliorating the harm done by the Scottish Government's education policies and enabling schools, freeing schools to provide better local education.
OK, well, let's deal with both of those in turn then. You say that you'll support strong families. That's at the front and centre of your politics and on your website and in your manifesto. The rising cost of living is front and centre of many families' concerns. What would you do to alleviate pressure on families?
Well, that's one of those questions where it's very tempting for politicians just to say they'll spend and give money here, there and everywhere. There's very difficult decisions to be made. And the government can't just spend money endlessly to solve problems. But on the other hand, there are people, individuals, families who are facing real serious issues. And where they're reaching crisis points, then the council, where necessary, needs to step in and help. There's going to be difficult decisions with budgets, but obviously if people can't manage to provide the basics of life for themselves, then everything needs to be done to help them.
Your campaign leaflet reads, "A vote for the Scottish Family Party is a vote for protecting children and helping families. We're pro-family, pro-marriage and pro-life." Does that include single-sex couples, single-sex marriages and their children?
A lot of our policies would help any household bringing children up. We've certainly got the best interests of all children at heart. I think the thing you're maybe getting at is our view is that the ideal for children is to be brought up by their natural parents. We know that isn't always possible, but that's the ideal for children to be brought up by their own mum and dad. And so our policies seek to maximise the number of children who are brought up in that ideal situation.
And you would follow that through then in terms of education. You mentioned that as well. You would reduce the amount of sex education in schools for children.
That's not our policy at all. Our problem is with the nature of sex education. We're all for sex education. In fact, when I was teaching, I taught sex education even. But the objection we have to the Scottish Government's sex education resources is that they're vulgar. It's often an immoral message. It's a dangerous message.
In what way?
I mean, for example, endorsing pornography use among children, saying this is nothing to feel guilty about. We just don't think that's the right message. I mean, they talk about sexual practices that I wouldn't even want to mention on air this morning, that I'd never even heard of until I looked at the sex education resources. We just don't think that's the right message. Sex education is a really important area, and we would have a very positive message to give. And children need to learn about the consequences.
I'm interested though in young children who maybe don't conform to your ideals of the family. There are young children who will be gay, bi, trans, young children who will be confused about what they are. Will they receive the sex education that they require so they don't have to resort to going on the internet to look for details?
Let's go with the trans issue. So if a young person's experiencing gender confusion, then obviously they need support, and they're facing a difficult issue in their life. But our view is that the current approach, where a teacher would put their arm around them and basically say, yes, that we're really delighted that you've discovered you're actually the different sex. We'll call you by a different name. You can change gender at school. We won't necessarily tell your parents about it. We just don't think that's the best way to support a young person.
So you don't think teachers should support those vulnerable children and perhaps help them through those issues? We're about to hear a piece in the programme.
That's exactly the opposite of what I said. That is exactly the opposite of what I just said. I said they need support, but they don't need support support that affirms gender change. I think a more appropriate type
support,
of
but not acceptance.
If you could just let me finish. But the support that they need, that is most helpful, is to say, well, let's just slow down a bit here. Let's think about this. Is there anything that's causing you to feel like this? And to try and steer young people down the road where their gender identity and their sex are in alignment. Because all the evidence shows that that's a much easier path through life than going down the path of changing gender, which correlates with an awful lot of problems. So we've got the best interests of children at heart, but we don't think that the Scottish Government's current approach to dealing with issues is the best for young people.
We must leave it there. Richard Lucas from the Scottish Family Party, thank you very much indeed.